Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? Well, hello. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to say thank you guys for attending this webinar. I put a lot of energy behind the webinar, so I'm excited to give you guys all of this amazing information for you guys to utilize for your businesses. Okay, for those of you who will be watching this later on as a replay, I also want to say thank you, even though you couldn't attend the live webinar. And for those who are already in the room, you will be receiving a replay in case you miss some information or I'm moving too fast. You'll always have this lifetime replay to go back to. Now, someone just said they can't hear. So really quickly, I want to do a sound check and just give me a yay or nay if you guys can hear me properly before we go ahead and get started. Yeah, okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay, so how I designed this webinar is we're going to go over a lot of information, and I have a lot of information in sections to go over with you guys. So what I want you to do is I want you guys to have a pen and paper, and any questions that you have throughout these sections that we're speaking on, I want you to go ahead and jot them down. And at the end of the webinar, at the end of the webinar, that's when I want you guys to start answering some of the questions. I just want to make sure I don't skip over anyone's questions because, like I said, there's a lot of information to get through, a lot of sections to get through, and I don't want to prolong the webinar more than it has to be. So just save those questions to the very end, and we'll have like a little Q&A about the questions and on some of the sections that you guys have. Okay, so let's get started. Let me get comfy. Okay, if you guys see me looking down, I have tons of notes in front of me just so I can make sure I'm going through everything efficiently and in a timely fashion. So let's get started. So the reason you are attending this webinar is because you want to learn how to start a hair company from scratch, basically. Some people may already have existing hair companies that they want to either rebrand or that they want to just put a little zhuzh into and learn some more information. But we are literally going to start from point A to point Z and start from the most important thing that a lot of people tend to skip over, and that is a notion. Okay. Now, if you guys do not know what a notion is, I'm going to give you guys definitions and all throughout this entire webinar, but a notion is a concept or a belief about something. And when you are starting up any sort of business, whether you're in the hair industry or if you are a baker, it all starts with a concept and it all starts with an idea. And the importance of a notion, which is basically a plan, is to help with the development of starting a successful business. Drawing up a blueprint will help execute the full task of business development. So something that I strongly recommend to execute this particular step is creating something similar to a dream board. Dream boards are definitely very beneficial for you. For one, they lay everything out. Hello guys, they lay everything out on that dream board for you that you want to accomplish, and then you do so. Like I said, a lot of people skip over this step, but this step is very important because without a plan, you're not going to get all that far because you don't have what's the word I'm looking for? You don't have, I'm just going to say plan. You don't have a plan or something to execute in front of you. And a notion is meant to help with an action of execution, okay? So it all starts with the plan. So everyone sitting in this room has a plan. They know they want to start a hair company, but it's time to put that plan on paper, and then it's time to execute. So the next step when you're developing a business basically would be your business name. Your business name is very important. And some things that your business name should represent is the concept of your desired company. So I have an example written down, and I'm just going to let you guys know what that is. And the example is, if you are selling Brazilian extensions, it's not likely to have a business name such as Raw Imports. Get me? And the reason that name doesn't necessarily apply for your particular company is because you'll be selling Brazilian, Malaysians, Mongolian, things like that. And you wouldn't be tapping into those raw extensions. So you always want to pick a name that is suitable for the company that you are in the process of opening. And one thing I want you guys to do, I want you guys to let me know if I'm moving too fast, because I will slow it down if for some of you guys, okay? So we've talked about a notion, which is a plan. We've talked a little bit about business names. So the next thing regarding the business name section is going to be, how exactly do you pick a business name? And some key concepts that I want you guys to really consider when picking a business name is originality. Don't be afraid to start from to stand out from the crowd. Be original. Allure 96 is my hair company, and it is extremely original just because I put numbers in my business name, and you don't necessarily see that all the time. So if you guys don't know what originality is, it's basically the ability to think independently and creatively, okay? So the next thing is you want to allow your business name to be user-friendly. So I notice a lot of the people that I come in contact with, especially like newer business owners, a lot of people are definitely original, but not necessarily user-friendly. So if you already have a name that you're considering to use, just make sure it rolls off the tongue. Just make sure that it's easy for someone to understand and to pronounce and things like that, because that does play a major role in spread of mouth and getting your business out there and that awareness stage about your business, okay? Okay, so more concepts as far as business name goes is you want to make sure your future business name is available. So something that I want you guys to write down, if you do not know this already, you can check to see if your business name is available through GoDaddy. And GoDaddy is basically like a web builder software, but you can also buy domains on there. But you want to check to make sure that domain is available. So if I was about to start Allure 96, I would definitely head over to GoDaddy and just see if allure96.com was available. So definitely look into that. And then you can, after checking the domain name, take a look at, there's a website called NameCheck. There's a website called NameCheck, and it's spelled NameChk. And you can basically go on there to make sure how do I say this, that you guys will understand it? The handle is available. So we're going to speak on Allure 96. If I wanted allure96.com, I would go ahead and head over to NameCheck to see if that was available. Or if I wanted allure96.org or allure96.co, NameCheck, it'll let me know if it is an available name for me to use. And then the last thing regarding your domain name, or not your domain name, but your business name, is you want to make sure you genuinely like your name, because your name is a name that's going to be stuck with you long term, hopefully, okay? Everyone following along with me? I hope so. Yay, nay? Okay, perfect. So the next thing we're going to speak on is brand identity. Your brand identity is very important. And for those of you who may not know what your brand identity is, it's basically the aggregation of what all your organization does. It's an organization's mission, personality, promise to the consumers, and competitive advantages. And that basically means, in better terms, the element of like your key colors, fonts you're using, styles, things like that, what your brand in a sense represents, and then the identity that it has when people visually looks at it. So like I said, it's your key colors, typefaces, font, style, decorative options, something that you guys want to make sure. You want to make sure you have a consistent style of images. So like that refers more to your Instagram. You want to make sure everything looks very seamless, looks very similar. You want to make sure your logo looks like the same logo on all type of different print. And you also want to make sure the watermarks look the exact same as well. Okay. Now, another way you can also check to see if your name is available, or if it's trademarked, rather, you can head over to a website called UST. Hold on, I butchered that, so I'm going to start over. It's USPTO.gov, and they'll let you know if your future name or desired name is taken, and you can just run that through the government database to make sure that name is available and not trademarked, which is very important. Alrighty, so we've talked about notions, the plan. We've talked about a business name. We've also talked about brand identity. The next step would be to talk about our logo. Your logo is very important. And a logo is a combination of text and visual imagery that serves two purposes. It tells the people the name of your business and creates a visual symbol that represents your business. So the important components of your logo would be these 5 tips that I'm going to give you, okay? And you guys can write this down or memorize it, or you can always come back to this. But the first thing you want to make sure you're doing when you are working with a graphic designer to create a logo, or if you're creating your own logo, you want to have simplicity in your logo. And a simple logo design allows for easy recognition. For instance, I'm going to refer to the Nike sign. If you see the Nike sign, we automatically know it's Nike. It's super simple. It's very straightforward. And for one, it's been around for a long time and a very popular brand. But if we see a check mark, we automatically refer a check mark to the Nike symbol. So that's what I mean by simplicity. The next component that you want to make sure you have is you want to make sure your logo is memorable. An effective logo design should be memorable and is achieved by simplicity. So if it's memorable, simple, we're moving in the right direction, okay? And the next thing, the next component rather, your logo should have is timeless. And what I mean by that is a logo that has one version will appear more appealing to the naked eye. And I have a little example written down for you guys that it'll make a little more sense about what I mean when I say timeless. So I did a little research, and ever since 1885, the Pepsi logo has changed over 10 times, compared to their competitor, which is Coca-Cola, which has not changed since 1885. And I have a little image up here for you guys to show you guys exactly what I mean. And when I say timeless, I'm sure when I said Pepsi, a lot of us probably thought about all different type of logos because they've had so many logos compared to the standard logo that Coca-Cola has had over the many years they've been in business, okay? So that's just exactly what I mean, and a little visual for you guys who are more visual learners. You always want to make sure that your brand is timeless and that you do pick a logo and stick with that logo and not jump from logo to logo, okay? Now, the component 4 that your logo should have is versatility. A logo should be functional. For this reason, a logo should be designed in a vector format. And vector format is basically a format just as a PNG logo or a JPEG logo. And when you are working with graphic designers, usually when you pay a graphic designer, they go ahead and send you all these formats in one. So the vector format is just a format that allows you to resize your images and they still have the same resolution. And then, well, mainly when you put them on print. So you can blow them up and they still have the same resolution and they're not blurry or distorted, but then you can shrink them down and it still looks just as amazing. So make sure when you guys are designing your logos that you make sure you have all the different formats for all the different amazing prints that you will create with those logos, whether it's on a shirt or whether it's on a pen, the side of a pen. Now, component 5, when creating your logo, or the components when creating your logo, is you want to make sure it's appropriate for its intended purpose. And what I mean, you don't want to start a hair company and have butterflies in your logo, or have a car in your logo, because it's not appropriate for what you're necessarily doing. But I do see a lot of logos out there for businesses for people who do have hair businesses that may have a woman with her hair blowing in more of a clip art fashion. Like, that's something that is appropriate. My personal favorite logos are just simple logos, simple worded logos, instead of having tons of clip arts, because the clip arts do get a little distorted sometimes depending on what type of print you're putting them on, whether it's a banner, or maybe something super small. So if I could give you a recommendation, I would definitely say stick with more so just a word-based text logo instead of having tons of clip arts. But that's really it regarding the logo section. And then we're just going to move forward. So like I said, we have a lot of information to get through. And like I said, if I am moving too fast for anyone, please let me know, okay? So let's do a little recap. We've talked about Notion, business name, brand identity, and we've also went into depth about a good logo. So the next step after you master all of the sections that we have already spoke upon, that next step would be legalization. So you have a business name. Your business name is available. You have a logo. You have a business plan or a blueprint to how you're going to get from point A to point Z. So the next thing is going to be the legalization process. Kay asked me to repeat 5. Oh my gosh, I keep having the hiccups. Component 5, going back to logo, is appropriate for its intended purpose. And that's what you want to make sure your logo is appropriate for your brand, basically. So switching back over to legalization. Legalization provides personal liability protection for business decisions or actions of your business. A lot of people, when they think about legalization, they're kind of like all over the place with it. They make the situation seem like it's more intricate than it actually is. When legalization is not a topic that you necessarily want to beat yourself up over. It's very straightforward, and 2 of the legal protections that we're going to go over is some protections that you guys have probably heard, and that would be your DBA and your LLC. Now, some people might be like, whoa, what are those? What are you talking about? But for those of you who may not know what a DBA is, the definition of a DBA is an acrimony for doing business ads. It is sometimes referred to as a trade name, fictitious business name, or assumed business name. So that's the definition of a DBA. Now, as for an LLC is a limited liability company, or LLC means that a business is operated as a distinct and separate legal entity from its owners. Okay. To break that down a little further for you guys, a DBA is you doing business as, and then an LLC is where your business has its own separate entity. So your business, basically, how do I say it? Your business operates on its own. So if something happened where you had to get sued or anything like that, they would be suing your direct business, and your personal assets or liability would not be affected by that. Versus with the DBA, if someone happened to sue you, they're suing you. Okay. So those are the 2 legal protections that we're going to go over. So some of you guys may be like, okay, cool, I know what a DBA and LLC is, but how exactly do I get one? And there are some, they're not apps, but they're like websites that definitely do help with the process of registering your business. And that'll be LegalZoom. And you guys can write this down if you would like. But some of those websites would be something like LegalZoom. LegalZoom is my personal favorite. It's very straightforward, very simple. If you wanted to file for a DBA, it takes you no time to do so. Or get any other business license. It's very straightforward, very simple. Some other options that you can look into if you guys are, doing more so of a budget, you can look into biz filing. So someone asked to spell that. So LegalZoom is spelled LegalZome. The next one is going to be biz filing, and that's going to be BIZFILLINGS. The next one is Swift filing, and that is SWYFTFILINGS. And then the very last one is going to be My Corporation. And these are online businesses that handle filing your business for you. Now, let's talk about like obtaining your business license and how to do so aside from using those those additional websites and you don't want to pay that additional fee and you want to just do it all on your own, even though I recommend doing it through the website because they're going to make sure everything is handled exactly how it's supposed to be handled. A DBA can be registered at your city's clerk's office. And you can register your DBA like that. An LLC must be registered with the Secretary of State. LegalZoom, I'm going to spell it one more time for you guys, for the people in the comments. It's LEGALZOME. And the last one was My Corporation. And that's spelled MYCORPORATION. Okay. Okay, so back to you physically filing your own business. DBA, like I said, you can register that at your city's clerk's office. As far as an LLC, you must register that with the Secretary of State. And basically, you obtain, well, you give them your name, the name that you want to file at the city clerk's office or the Secretary of State. And then they let you know if that name is available. Now, something that you also need to consider is you need to provide the business name assumed and address. You need to provide your name, your business name, your address, and then sign and date the application and pay the filing fee. So if you go to the Secretary of State, you're gonna do all of that right then and there, and you'll be paying the filing fee. You'll be giving them your business name, your address, and all of that good stuff. And it's how ironic my shirt, you guys can't see it, but my shirt says all of that good stuff. I just thought I'd throw that in. But moving on, for DBA filing at the county level, you also must publish legal notice of the filing in a newspaper or general calculations within about a 15-day range. Now, that is exceptional depending on where exactly you particularly live. I live in Chicago, so if I was to do a DBA, my business would have to be registered in some form of a magazine or newspaper for 15 consecutive days. And then after that process is when all of my paperwork would be submitted, and then my business would then be, a DBA if I was to do it that route. But what I want you guys to do is, because like I said, each county and each city and each state is different and operated very differently, but this is just a general idea. These are mainly Chicago's regulations or Illinois regulations, but I do want you guys to further your knowledge as far as that goes for the county that you are particularly in, because each one do decipher a little, okay? Now we are done talking about legal business. So recap really quickly. We talked about a business plan. We talked about our business name. We've talked about brand identity. We've talked about our logo. We've talked about legalization. So the next thing would be vendors. So after we have all of that stuff squared away, the vendor would be the next source. So now that we have a business, we have all of this amazing stuff going for our business. Now we actually need merchandise. So a vendor is a person or company who supplies products at a discounted rate for you guys. I keep saying, I apologize. But when you are considering a vendor, there's typically two types of vendors that you're going to choose. You're either going to choose a domestic vendor or you're going to choose a foreign vendor. And when I say domestic vendor, I'm referring more so to the US. So you're either going to choose a US vendor or you're going to choose an overseas vendor. Now, before you choose them, you need to understand the concepts of both of them, basically. So for instance, we're going to speak on domestic vendors. So that'll be like your US vendors. A US vendor has higher manufacturing and labor standards. You need to make note of that. The United States is typically more expensive due to tax laws. So the product is going to be more expensive if you get them from the US. The United States vendors must ensure a quality work environment. So you're going to know whatever facility or manufacturing facility or manufacturer that you're working with that is a domestic vendor, that will reassure you that the facility is up to regulation and up to par if it is a US vendor. And then the last one is the United States typically has a better product, because and the reason they do technically have a better product is because of the regulations that the county that they're in or the state that it's run out of must abide by. So those are some things regarding domestic vendors. So the next one is going to be a foreign vendor. Now, we all love foreign vendors because foreign vendors are usually a lot cheaper, but foreign manufacturers are much cheaper, of course, than domestic sources, and the cost of labor could be reduced by as much as 80%, which is a lot. And if it's reduced by 80%, you'll be able to profit more. So that's typically why a lot of things are made overseas, because it is much cheaper to do so than having it made in the US. As far as foreign vendors go, they have minimal taxes and fewer regulations, like we spoke on. There's also a vast amount of workers available who are willing to do the labor for a much lower rate. And these are some of the reasons why we get them for cheaper. And then the last thing regarding foreign vendors is shipping times, which it's more bitter than it is sweet, but it's basically shipping times can be weeks or even months instead of days due to lengthy customs and import process. Now, when dealing with hair, I don't necessarily ever have this issue, but just know if you are dealing with overseas vendors, you can have that issue with packages being lost through like customs and things like that. Now, on to the good stuff. Some of you guys are probably wondering, okay, cool, I know that. How do I go about finding these vendors? And there are my biggest three is going to be one being social media. Social media is, of course, how you find anything. So social media is definitely going to help you. I always aim for Instagram because Instagram allows you to hashtag some of the things that you're looking for. So if you want to sell raw hair and you're looking for a Burmese hair vendor, search that into Instagram and tons of vendors will pop up, and then you weave through the ones you want and the ones you don't want. The next one would be Google. Google is also a great source as far as finding vendors, especially more so exclusive vendors. So if you head to Google and you search like raw hair vendors or Indian hair vendors, I'm sure a list with a ton of vendors will pop up for you guys. And once again, you'll just have to weave in and out of the ones that you like or the ones that you want to, work with. Now, the last one, which a lot of people, are iffy on our vendors list. You can also, if you don't want to necessarily do that footwork, you can purchase a vendors list from someone. Now, if you are going to purchase a vendors list, I definitely recommend you purchase from someone that you can 100% trust, someone who has credibility, and basically someone that that they won't get over on you or anything like that. But those are my biggest three, being social media, Google, and a vendors list. I personally recommend, out of the three, go ahead and just do the footwork on your own and just go ahead and jump on Instagram and find vendors, because vendors live on Instagram, and you can find so many amazing vendors on Instagram, from hair vendors to lash vendors to edge control vendors. You can find so much amazing information from Instagram because everyone seems to be on Instagram nowadays. Okay. So the next thing, or this next section, would be what to look for when searching for a vendor, because this is a big one. When you are searching for a vendor, you always want to first and foremost look for good communication. You want to make sure they have good communication with their clients, and of course their clients being you. You want to make sure they have amazing communication skills, and you want to make sure they have the ability to answer all of your questions thoroughly. But if you are dealing with an overseas vendor, typically there is a language barrier. A lot of the times when you're dealing with a vendor, they have their sales associates are typically 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 fluent in English, but you specifically want to make sure that they can understand thoroughly what your expectations are as a business owner, and you need to make sure they can deliver that. And the only way to doing so is by consistent and fluent communication, so you can explain to them what your expectations are. Now, aside from good communication, ability to answer questions thoroughly, and basically understanding you, would be quality products offered. You want to make sure at that stage that they offer a good product that you can then invest your money into. Now, the last one, as far as what to look for when searching for a vendor, would be product. You need their product prices to match your desired budget. Now, everyone in this room has a different budget. Everyone has different fundings that they can utilize for their business. So you always want to make sure that the vendor that you do decide to work with can offer a good product, but still be in your price range as well. So moving on, some questions that you can ask your future vendor, and I have a list of questions, and you guys can jot this down if you would like. Some of those questions would be, how long have you been in business? The longer a company has been in business, typically shows the more credible they are, because if a company has a horrible product and they haven't been in business that long, typically you might not want to spend money with them. But if they've been in business for a nice amount of time, maybe that's someone that you do want to take it to the next step with. The next question is, you want to ask them specifics on the products. So you want to ask them some questions specifically geared towards their products. Another question you can ask is, do you supply a full product price chart? Every vendor that you run across, if they are on their A game, they already have charts available or a list available that explains every single thing that they offer and the prices to them. So that's something that you want to look out for. Another question would be, what material is your lace made out of? A lot of the lace, and when I say lace, I'm referring more so towards lace closures, lace frontals, anything with lace in it, basically. Many of them are going to say, because it's pretty, what I've learned, it's pretty standard to just use Swiss lace. And if you guys don't know much about Swiss lace, it's basically a fabric imported from Germany that they use to create the actual frontals on units and or front closures and things of such. The next question you want to ask is, your hair single or double drawn? This is something important because this will let you know if you have any beards in your hair. If you guys don't know what beards are, they're basically like sparse hairs that, how do I explain this? Like, like let's say you have a balloon, and if you put the balloon up to your hair, all your hair would static up. That is basically what double drawn is. You want to make sure that it's not tons of flyaways that you will receive when you do have the hair. Bundles that are typically single drawn are not as good as bundles that are double drawn, just because they go over whatever process they use, they go over that process 2 times instead of just once. So you can just ask them, is the hair single or double drawn? And if it's double drawn, it's typically a better grade. But if it's single drawn, it's not a horrible thing either, but it's just good to know. Some more questions would be how long does shipping take? That's a very important question, especially if you're doing more so as like an order as you go type of thing. You want to make sure you know exactly how long that package is going to take until it reaches your front doorstep after you pay for it. Some places might say 7 days. Other places might say 2 or 3 days. So it just all depends. But once again, this is good information to know to make sure that this is a company or a brand or a business that you do want to work with. Now, something big that you want to know as well is how is shipping calculated? Now, a lot of the times when you're dealing with a good vendor, they'll typically send you a chart list and send you, how do I say that? Like X, Y, and Z grams equal $20 shipping, or such and such grams equal $40 shipping. They'll usually have that already written out. But if you're like me and you want to make sure no one's getting over on you and you know exactly what you're paying for and what you're buying, this is information that I genuinely like to know, because I like to make sure my money is going to the exact place that I think it's going to. I don't want to spend an extra $5, an extra $3 if I don't necessarily have to. So calculating that shipping will definitely help, especially if you know how much shipping is, because just remember, especially overseas vendors, if you're ordering from them, the more you order, the more expensive your shipping will get. And then the last question I have is, are there any fillers or synthetic material material used. Typically, I take this question with a grain of salt because no company or or not any business is going to bash their company because they want you to order from them. They don't want to scare you away. So with this question just kind of makes me feel better when I am dealing with vendors, just to see how honest they are. But the true test will be, of course, once I receive that hair and actually do my own tests and things of such. But like I said, with that question, that'll let me know if they're at least being honest with me. And if they are being honest with me, amazing. If they're not, I won't utilize them ever again. So once we bypass all of that, the next one would be, how exactly do you test your hair? So once you get past all of these communication steps and you get past you get past all the communication steps, you get past all the questions, and you really build some trust with the vendor that you are thinking about ordering from, the next step would be to physically order the hair. So that when you are ordering the hair, the first step that you need to take as far as ordering the hair or testing the hair rather, would be, once you receive that hair, you want to take a fine-tooth comb. Let's see. A fine-tooth comb similar to this, or if you have one that's even more finer and more, the teeth are closer together, and you want to take a blank sheet of paper and you want to open that bundle. I have to sneeze. Hold on. Whew. Okay. You want to take the bundle and you want to go ahead and rake through the hair. Now, the reason I say rake through the hair is because you want to make sure there's no bugs, no larva eggs, no lice, or anything like that. And by raking through the hair, if there are any bugs or larva eggs or lice or anything like that, by raking it directly onto a white sheet of paper, you will see everything that falls out of that hair. And not only will this comb test prove that, that the hair is either good or bad, or if it has bugs in it or parasites or whatever, it'll also let you know if you get shedding. So if you start raking the comb through your hair and you get excessive shedding, maybe this isn't a company I want to move forward with just because it can't pass a simple comb test, okay? So if it does pass that particular test, the next test or thing you want to move on to is you want to take a section of the hair or the bundle and run a flat iron through it, and you want to do the same with a curler. You want to make sure that, especially if it's a more wavier or curlier texture, that this hair gets bone straight and also it can hold a curl. So I would say, like, once you take a section, curl it, and then take a section and flat iron it, leave it for maybe a few hours and come back to it to see exactly where that hair stands at that point. See if that curl dropped, if that flat iron went back to a more wavier pattern, or a more wavier pattern. The next test is you want to take your cheapest shampoo. And I always say your cheapest shampoo because cheaper shampoo has a lot of sulfate in it. You want to take a cheap shampoo and a cheap conditioner. And basically you want to thoroughly wash the hair. You want to thoroughly wash the hair. And what I mean by that is you want to tangle this hair. You want to wash this hair like a mad person and rubbing it together and smushing it together because you want this hair to act its worst on you. Okay. And act its worst on you. And once you then decide to condition the hair, you'll then realize if either the tangles start to fall, start to go away, or if the hair is just not good and it just turns into a hot mess and just tangles up and balls up on you. Like I said, you would then know not to work with them. And then the last test is installing your extensions. Now, this is going to be your most important test because hair is going to really show you its true colors after you decide to wear it. Typically, after 3 weeks to a month of wearing the hair, you'll really see the true colors of extensions. And what I mean by that, you'll either realize if it's good or if it's bad. Typically, if you have a hair in for a week, 4 days, 3 days, it's going to be great. It's going to be flawless. It's going to be bouncing around. But if you continuously wear hair for a long period of time without putting too much maintenance in it, you'll then realize if it's a good investment or a bad investment. Really quickly, I see a question, and it says, what if you wash the hair and the water turns brown? Great question. If that's the case, that means they're either your vendor is using some form of a chemical or hair dye over the hair, which is bad, especially if they're advertising is like a virgin hair or raw hair. That's not a company that I would then want to move forward with, because you're not being honest with me. And if you can't be honest with me, how can you be honest with $3,000 of my dollars, or $10,000 or $15,000? So I wouldn't even bother. So that was a long section about vendors, okay? So, so the next section that we're now going to transition to is going to be inventory. Because let's say we have, let's say we have got through all our previous steps and sections that we have already went over thus far, and you now have a vendor. Now the question is, okay, I got this vendor. I got this business name. I got this. My business is legit. It have a business license. How much inventory do I need? No, excuse me. So how much inventory should be ordered? I personally recommend you to order in the beginning, anywhere from 12 to 36 bundles. And this is on the low end. Now, if you have the funds to order a lot of hair, go for it. But even if you do have the funds to order a lot of hair, I still recommend you to order just 12 to 36 bundles. And the reason I say that is because you don't know what's going to come in, what's going to go out. You don't know if you're going to make a sale the first month, 2 months, 3 months into starting a business. It is a process getting to that point of a sale. So recommended is 12 to 36 bundles assorted. Now, the next one is how many frontals and closures should be ordered. I say anywhere between 2 to 6 closures and 2 to 6 frontals in assorted textures as well. And Erica, she said 12 of all different sizes. So when I say 12, I mean in total. So like, let's say you just decide to order 12 bundles from a vendor. You want to make sure they are in different sizes in case someone does want that. So you want to make sure you have maybe like a 12, 14, 16. You want to have lengths that are going to go out together and pair together. So yes, to answer your question. So, and I keep saying so, I apologize. The next one is going to be how many wigs should be ordered. And this is for someone who is interested in the wig game and they want to sell wigs, because not every hair company does sell wigs. For one, wigs are quite expensive. Even when you do order them wholesale, they do get expensive. But if you are a company that wants to carry on with wigs and, you know, offer wigs to your platform and things like that, anywhere between 1 to 4 wigs assorted is great to start with. And like I said, all of this inventory that I'm getting, this is not going to be your inventory forever. This is just what you're going to start with. Like I said, you don't necessarily know what you're going to sell, and just having lump sums of hair sitting is not always a good thing. Hair has a lifespan just as well as anything else, and the longer you let something sit, the lower the quality is going to get, basically. And I see a quick question. What's your wig density? What is your wig density preference? I say anything between 130 and 180 is a good wig preference. I have worn wigs that were 100 grams. And is it 100 grams? I don't know the measurement, but like 100 density. And it was too thin for me. I like hair. I like a little big hair, wavy hair, things like that. So I would say anywhere between the 130 and 180 mark. 180 if you want super full hair, 130 if you want more so of a natural look. So the next question would be, what are the top textures sold? Top textures sold are going to be your straight and body wave. Curly textures are more popular during spring and summer months, in case you guys did not know that. And then the next, the last question regarding inventory is, what are the most popular lengths? Your most popular lengths are going to be between lengths 12 and 24. And that's not me saying don't order a 26, 28, 30, because those are popular, and you are going to have a few customers that would rather have longer lengths or enjoy the longer styles. But typically, your most popular lengths are going to be anywhere between a 12 and 24 range. Now, with the information that I have given you, that's when you would decide, okay, if I'm going to order 12 bundles, let me order 2 body wave, let me order 2 straight, let me order this, let me order that. That's when you can then decipher and break it down exactly how you want to order it. This is me just kind of giving you guys a blueprint on what makes sense to order, especially in the beginning. Okay, so moving on, the next thing we're going to talk about is website development options, okay? So this section is not going to be how do you create a website. This is going to be the options and what you guys need to utilize when you are in this particular, basically in this particular section of creating your business. So some people might be saying, like, where can I find a website builder? So some website builders that are out there for you guys to utilize are website builders, and I have a list of them, and I'm just going to read off of them really quickly. It's going to be Wix, Big Cartel, e-commerce, Shopify, Squarespace, WordPress, and GoDaddy. These are very popular web builders. There are other web builders out there, but these are, for the most part, the most utilized ones, the top heavy hitters out there that are on the market for you to go ahead and use. When you are creating a website, it is very important that you have a URL. So someone's question out there may be like, hey, how do I get a custom URL? You can get a custom URL from third parties like GoDaddy or even Google. I purchased my Allure 96 URL from Google and then transferred it over to Big Cartel. And then after I got rid of my Big Cartel account, I then transferred it over to my now Wix account. So those are just some third party like websites that you can get custom URLs from that you can then transfer over. GoDaddy is going to be your cheapest alternative as far as funds go. But then there are many web builders such as Wix, Big Cartel, Shopify that offer free custom domains through upgrade options. So if you have a Wix account and you have a free Wix account, if you upgrade your Wix account, they will give you a free domain if you pick that option. Otherwise, you can just purchase your domain through Wix, and they tell you how long you have it for and when you need to register your domain and things of such. So some key components that you need to utilize when you are in the web design development stage. Your website needs to have 5 main components. 5 main components. And the first component is going to be a consistent color theme throughout. The second component is going to be, you want to make sure your website has high resolution images. Very important. When people come to websites, they're not really interested in the wording. They're not interested in reading up on tons of things. So when they get to your website, they want to see what they're buying. They want to see how this product is going to look, how this product is going to hold up, how you have this product styled. So you want to make sure you offer high resolution images, and you want to have multiple images on your website for your potential buyers to see. The next thing, or the next component when creating a website, is you want to make sure your website is has easy navigation tools. And what I mean by that is you want to make sure your website is your customers are easily able to navigate things. You want to make sure they can jump on your website, put bundles in their cart, check out, and have a flawless experience as far as checking out and actually purchasing their product. That is very important. Because might I say, like, I've been to some websites, and if you go to a website, like let's say you have a website or you're creating your own website or someone else is creating a website for you, and you wouldn't spend money with yourself, 9 times out of 10, a potential customer wouldn't spend money with you either. So you always want to make sure everything is just flawless, seamless experience, and you want to make sure customers have a great experience. The first, I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the first component is consistent color theme. The second component is high resolution images. The third component is easy navigation tools. And the fourth one is going to be eye-catching quotes and phrases. Like I said, when people come to your website, they don't want to see tons of quotes, paragraphs. They don't want to see that. They didn't come to a hair page to particularly see that. If they wanted to see that, they would go to more sort of an informational website. But they came to your page to order hair, so let's give them what they want. And you can throw in words and phrases on your website so that people it's like a simple phrase and people understand what your hair can offer and things of such. So make sure you have eye-catching phrases and quotes. And then the last one, which is going to be the fifth component, you want to make sure that you have appropriate descriptions for your services and or products. So make sure on that description page, you are very specific on what this product can offer. And what I mean by being specific, you want to make sure that if you're selling a wig, that you have the density of the wig in the description. You want to make sure that you have the color of the wig in the description, what kind of lace the wig is made out of, the texture of this wig. You want to be very straightforward, but not over wordy when it does come to the descriptions. All right. Whew. Okay, so we are halfway there. So we're going to do like a quick little overcap just so we can figure out where we are exactly. So the first thing we talked about was a plan. Make sure you have a plan, you have a dream board, things like that. If you don't. The next one is a business name. We've also talked about brand identity. We've talked about logos, how to get a logo, what to look for with the logo. Then we talked about legalization, how to get legalized for your business and the different options that you do have. We've talked about how to obtain a business license as far as going through the Secretary of State or your city clerk's office. We've also talked about vendors, how to find a vendor, what to look for with the vendor, how to test your hair. And then we've also talked about inventory, what to order basically. And that led us all the way up to website development option. And those are some of the website development options and components that you need to bring to your website so that your clients or your future customers or buyers have a great experience with the navigation and the experience on your website. Now.
Okay. I found something on the web for experience on your website.
Okay. So the next thing or section that has led us into would be email marketing. A lot of people sleep on email marketing, but email marketing is very important for your business. Email marketing is the act of sending a commercial message, typically to a group of people using email. So I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, like, cool, but what is the email marketing? Like, how do I do this? So there are sites out there that offer subscription accounts so that people can sign up for your email marketing. So websites like MailChimp, Consistent Contacts, Drip, ConvertKit, Aweber, and then there's also some other website like Wix that automatically have these plugins instead of you having to plug these websites to your website, if that makes sense. Okay. So the next question would be, how do you get a subscriber to your email list? And you can get people to your email list by offering the sign up option through your website or through your social media links. So if you're someone, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna oh my gosh, I'm going to repeat myself as far as the websites go. So with email marketing, there are third-party websites out there that you can link up to your already existing websites to then get people to sign up for your newsletter. So some websites like MailChimp, Consistent Contacts, Drip, ConvertKit, Aweber, which is spelled Aweber, are websites that would help you plug in this option. Okay. But there are some website builders such as Wix, and I'm mainly just familiar with Wix, but like Wix that offers automatic plugin. So their newsletter is an automatic plugin. And I like with my website, I don't have to go to an outside source to then plug that into my website and utilize them as a third party plugin, basically, because Wix already has that information. It's called ConvertKit. So convert and then KIT. Okay, so the importance of a subscribers list. The importance of a subscriber list is to, one, those who sign up are actually interested in your service and or products. Two, Sending out emails can draw in hesitant customers. So if you have a customer who is interested in you, but they're hesitant to spend money with you, by them signing up to your newsletter allows you to send out consistent newsletters to your subscribers, which could then further a sale. So then they can become used to your brand. Then they can read up on your brand, see some of the amazing collections that you have, and so forth. And that is 2. The third one is the ability to promote new products and special offers. The ability to promote new products and special offers. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to read some of the comments and read this information as well. So some more things, or some more another reason why it's your newsletter subscription is important is because 4, sales can spike tremendously through email marketing. If you send out emails consistently, I can guarantee you will see an increase in your sales. So what to include in emails when marketing? And this is something that I had to definitely learn, but it does work. So when you are sending out these newsletters and emails, you need to make sure you have there's 5 important, I'm just going to say components that work with sending out emails when you are trying to market. The first one is you want to make sure you write an eye-catching subject line. Your subject line that will preview basically on your emails once you do send them to your subscribers. You want to make sure it's eye-catching. So an example would be entire website 45% off, or free shipping on all orders. Those are eye-catching statements that would then further someone to click on that link. The next one, component 2, is basically you want to master the preview text. Now, not only when you receive an email, you get to read the subject line, but then after you read the subject line, there's typically maybe like a sentence and a half that offers you to preview what that email is about. So you want to use engageful words that trigger people to want to click and actually read the email. And this information, it's going to take time to learn what is appropriate and what is engageful and what is eye-catching over time. But this is information that you guys do need to know for the future when you are sending out these newsletters. So component 3 is you want to keep paragraphs short and straight to the point. Like I said, a lot of people don't like to read. A lot of people focus on other things. So you just want to keep everything straightforward. The component 4 is going to be use call to action wording. So call to action wording is basically direct wording. So you want to use words like shop now, share this, click to purchase. You want to use trigger words that are explaining to your customers exactly what you want them to do. Component 5 is going to be get personal with your email proposals, and basically let your audience know that you're human, and you can do so by using names. I wish Wix had this option, but it doesn't. But depending on what type of third-party website that you go through to connect all of, connect your newsletters to your websites and things like that, they offer wording where it'll say like, hey, Tamira, and then it'll go into the message, or hey, Amani, and then it'll go into the message. And those are a lot more personal, and those are a lot more triggering. And those will definitely bring that personality for one to your business, and bring that personal feel where your customers will actually feel like you're being human with them and you're being personal with them as well. So within this same section, we're going to talk about landing pages. And a landing page is a section of a website accessed by clicking a hyperlink on another web page, typicily the website's homepage. That's the definition, but I'm going to give you guys my definition. A landing page, if you guys have ever been on Instagram, which I'm sure you have, or for instance, you guys sitting in this webinar, you guys clicked a direct link that took you directly to the page to purchase the ticket to then sit through this webinar. That is what a landing page is. It's basically a hyperlink that sends you directly to the particular page that whomever wants you to go to. So the importance of a landing page is to, one, help convert visitors to your website, so to get people to your website, and then two, to help send customers directly to the link wanted. Okay. And what softwares create landing pages? There are two main softwares that do create landing pages, and you can go through tongue twister. Linktree, and that's Link tree. And then the next one is going to be Bitly, and it's spelled Bitly. And if you guys don't spell some of this information right, I will also be sending you guys the review, and it'll have most of this information in it as far as these names, because I know it's hard, like trying to spell the name and listen to me and all of that stuff at the same time, okay? But that is everything regarding your landing pages and also everything regarding your email marketing. Now we're going to move on, and we're going to move on to social media marketing. So the main question is, how do you market on social media? What are some ways that you market on social media? And some of those ways are going to be promotion through a direct source. And what I mean by that, I mean promoting directly through Instagram or promoting directly through Facebook. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, you can go to Instagram and upload an image, and you can, if you have a business page, you can go ahead and promote that image. And by you doing so, you would type in the demographics that you do want to see this, that you want this image to pop up in front of. And you put their age group, the age group that you want to see it. You'd put what location you want them to be in, their interests, things like that. And you can do that with Instagram and Facebook, and also Snapchat now. Another way to promote on Instagram is post promotion. Now, if you guys have been watching me, you've heard me rant about post promotion. Post promotion is where you partner up with a popular page with a verbal agreement and payment. So that basically means you would email someone, or you would reach out to them via DM and say like, hey, how much would you charge me to promote this flyer on your page? They will then give you their rates. You would pay the price that they give you, and then they would then go ahead and post whatever image, flyer, video that you give them with the caption you wanted. And that, to me, is the best option. I don't necessarily like to send my product out to people, just due to the fact that people are shady in this world, unfortunately. And you just always got to be woke. You always have to have your eyes peeled back, because you never know when someone's going to try to get over on you. So I rather, instead of losing merchandise, I rather lose basically from my cash flow, because everyone has like different, with post promotion, everyone has different rates. So you can pay someone $10, you can pay someone $50, or you can pay someone as much as $150 to promote a product for you. Some other ways you can also do cross promotion. Cross promotion, I definitely recommend for those who are on a budget. Cross promotion is where a separate page promotes your product for you for free, and you return the favor and promote theirs at no cost. So this is more so of a free option. And how you would do so, you would find someone that's on the same, maybe in a similar industry. So like the hair industry, of course, you would find someone in the hair industry and the beauty industry, and you would reach out to them and say like, hey, how do you feel about posting this product for me? And then I'll then go ahead and post the product for you. That's all to it. You guys are basically just cross promoting, but for free. When you are posting on Instagram and Facebook, you always, or YouTube, or wherever you're posting, you always want to post consistent. You want to post content regularly. So you want to upload your highest quality images all the time, and that's very important. And we've already talked about picture resolution and things like that, but you always want to make sure you're posting regularly and a good content as well. The last thing regarding marketing on social media is you want to insert your landing pages or direct links in bios for easy access. Now, we've already talked about landing pages. You want to make sure that you have landing pages in your bio. So let's say you have an Instagram page. You want to make sure in your Instagram page that you do have a landing page where you're specifically sending someone to your website, or you're specifically sending someone to your Facebook group, or you're specifically sending someone to the bundle sale that you're having. So those will definitely benefit you. And that is a form of promotion by having those hyperlinks available for people to click and purchase. Now, marketing. Marketing is the action or business of promotion and selling a product or services. And we're going to switch to branding, because now we're talking about branding, and a lot of people tend to confuse the two. Branding, on the other hand, is the promotion of a particular product or company by means of advertising and distinctive design. So my question would be, how do you brand your business? How do you brand your business? You can brand your business by having a good logo, knowing your brand's mission. And what I mean by that, and a little example that I have for you guys is with my hair company, Allure 96. Allure 96 offers quality extensions at affordable prices. That is my company's mission, and that is what I go for. I offer a great product, and then I also offer a great product at a affordable price. So you want to know your brand's mission. Oops. And then you also want to reference back to your brand identity. So you want to make sure when you're dealing with your branding, you want to make sure that you're, once again, using those key colors. Your fonts and styles are matching. You're constant with your fonts and so forth. Okay. The next one is developing a tagline. And a tagline could be, well, a tagline is basically where, let's say you have a logo and then you have wording under your logo. I don't have it on this shirt, but for Amani Jelena, at the bottom of Amani Jelena, it says business specialist. That's my tagline. But underneath my Allure 96 business, it says beauty and glam. So you always want to create a tagline. It does give your brand like some individuality, and it does give your brand a little originality as well. But creating that will definitely help with branding. Something else is design templates and create brand standards for your business material. Use the same color scheme, logo placement, look and feel throughout. You don't need to be fancy, but you do need to be very consistent. The last one is going to be true to your brand. And this I swear by, okay? You need to be true to your brand. Customers will not return to you or refer you to anyone else if you don't deliver your brand's promise. So for instance, Allure 96. Allure 96 offers a great product at affordable rates. If I couldn't stand by that, or if I didn't abide by that, I would not expect a customer to come to me a second time. So that's the same standard that you need to hold your business to as well. Be true to your business, be true to your customers, and abide by your brand's mission. Abide by the taglines that you have for your businesses and so forth, and just be very genuine and open with your customers, but being very transparent as well. Alrighty, so we've talked about branding. Now we're going to move to advertising. Okay, so with advertising, when we talk about advertising, we're going to more so talk about the advertising budget. So an advertising budget is an estimate of a company's promotional spending funds over a certain period of time. So how to determine a budget? How do you determine this budget for advertising, especially when you are, a fresh business owner? The first thing that I'm going to give you was a study that I looked up, and by the U.S. Small Business Administration, they recommend that you put up 7 to 8% of your gross revenue for marketing and advertising. If you're doing less than $5 million a year in sales and your net profit margins. Everyone sitting in this room hasn't done $5 million in sales, so including myself. So that's not. So the 7 to 8% is what they're telling you that you need to put up for advertisement purposes. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that is just a little study by some officials that I did want to just let you guys know. But what I personally recommend, I recommend when starting out to set aside $100 for ad budgeting as a sweet spot. And then after that, once your business has been in business for quite some time, or you've made that year mark, then you can go ahead and figure out what's the best advertisement budget for you. But in the beginning, putting aside that $100 for your ad budget will definitely help you. It does not cost much to advertise your business. You can get advertisement for as low as $10, $5, and and it can go all the way up to millions of dollars. But $100 is a great sweet spot to start off. So some methods for setting an ad budget. There's tons of methods out there, but we're only going to talk about 2 methods to setting basically an ad budget. The first one is a fixed percentage of sales. And that basically start with last year's total gross sales of, here, I'll start over. That basically starts with last year's total gross sales or average sales for the past year. Then allocate a specific percentage of that figure of advertisement. Most businesses set aside between 2% and 5% of annual revenue for advertising. So if your annual revenue is $300,000, then spending $6,000 to $15,000 on advertisement is what you should utilize. And that's the first one, which is more so of a fixed percentage of sales. So basically, if you were to make $300,000 and you wanted to take 2% of that $300,000, you would then put $6,000 into your business as far as advertisement goes. And if you wanted to do, if you were to make $300,000, you can then put 5% into advertisement purposes, and that means for the year you would spend $15,000. That is one of the methods. The next method, which is my personal favorite, would be affordable or funds available method. And this method is based on the company's capacity to spending. And that basically just means what you can afford to spend without overexerting yourself. I'm all about budgeting. I'm not all into the proper way of, the calculations as far as what to put in, advertising purposes, what to put back and things like that. It is important that you guys don't overexert yourself when it does come to advertising. I'm not saying do not advertise I'm not saying don't advertise, but I'm saying as far as your advertisement budget, you need to put whatever you can put. So if that's $100 you can put into your business, that's $100 more that you can add to advertisement to then go ahead and advertise with different companies, agencies, Instagram, social media accounts, things of such. So that's the basics on advertisement. The next thing that we're going to talk about is brand ambassadors. This was a huge one, and I get a lot of questions on brand ambassadors often. So I did want to make this a good section for you guys because brand ambassadors are important. So the meaning of a brand ambassador is a person who is hired by an organization or company to represent a brand in a positive light, and by doing so, helping to increase brand awareness and sales. So some people may ask, well, how do I find these brand ambassadors? You can find brand ambassadors either through social media, which is what I recommend, or locally. And by finding brand ambassadors online, you would basically just go ahead and find pages who have large followings and then ask them if they're interested in this. They'll send you their rates and you'd move forward that way. So some things you need to look for when searching for a brand ambassador is, one, you need to make sure they have a large following for advertisement purposes, because there's no point in working with a brand ambassador who does not have many followers. At the end of the day, you're working with them because you want more revenue for your business, and they can only produce that if they have a nice amount of following behind them. The second one is the audience with your particular target demographics. And what I mean by that, you want to make sure you're working with someone who can deliver you people who are actually interested in your product. So if I have, I do have a hair company, but let's say I was to get a brand ambassador. I would never get a brand ambassador that deals more so with cars or deals more so with children or anything like that. just due to the fact that I know that they're not going to have the same target demographics or the same audience retention that I am personally looking for. The next one is going to be influencer, who is, of course, sociable and eager to push your product. At the end of the day, when you get a brand ambassador, you're hiring that person. That person, in a sense, works for you. So you need to make sure, just like with any job, that the person that you decide to hire on to be a brand ambassador has social skills and are eager to actually push your product. The next one is individual who is relevant to your brand. So for instance, Instagram model who takes many pictures and looks flawless all the time is perfect for a hair company ambassador, because for one, they already fit the look. For two, they're already into getting done up and putting on makeup and looking beautiful all the time. And then they take pictures, which is the main purpose of a brand ambassador, to advertise your work. The next one is going to be active and engaging online. You definitely want to make sure they have like nice comments. And when I say nice comments, I mean you want to make sure that people are actually commenting on their work underneath their posts, liking their pictures. Their page is very active and you can visually see that. And then the last one is going to be professional and consistent. You want to make sure that they are being consistent with how many posts you guys agree on a daily basis. And you also want to make sure they can bring that professionalism to the table, because of course they're representing your business at the end of the day. All right, so what is the budget for a brand ambassador? Some people are probably wondering, how much do they typically cost? And many ambassadors offer a variety of rates for their services. The larger their following will result in the larger the pay rate is to hire them. Many smaller influencers with 20K to like the 60K range definitely do offer lower rates compared to someone with, let's say, 1 million followers. But brand ambassadors are a gamble. But at the end of the day, they are worth it if you find the right one. A lot of people have reached out to me about contracts for brand ambassadors, and I strongly am someone who agrees with contracts and agreements. So when it does come to contracts and agreements, they are recommended for legal protection, so that both parties understand the responsibilities and expectations. When it does come to hiring on this person, you need to treat your business as if it is a corporate America job, because hopefully one day it will be. So by you visually writing down what's expected, and your potential, I'm not going to say employee, but your potential brand ambassador is able to read thoroughly what they are expected to do. At the end of the day, no one on this green earth, well, maybe some, but no one typically can get hired onto a professional job without signing paperwork of your obligations, what you're responsible for, terms and conditions, things like that. So you need to hold your business to the same standards. Some things that you need to contain when you are signing up these agreements, or some things that your agreement should contain, is 1, being obligations and expectations, 2, being time frame for execution, 3, being deadlines, 4, being payment section and rates, and then 4th being signatures. You need to incorporate all 5 of those into that actual contract and or agreement form. So once again, both of you guys know exactly what is expected. Both of you guys are signing for these expectations, and so forth. And when I say deadlines, I mean more so you need to make sure that if you want your brand ambassador to post 3 times a day, if you want them to post 3 times a week, you need to be direct in that agreement and or contract to what you specifically want them to do. And if they sign for that, then they're acknowledging that, and then they're agreeing to doing that. 5 was signature, for the person who asked in the comment section. The 5th one was the signature. You want to, once you have everything written out, drawn out, you both agree on everything, you then can sign it. Now, a lot of times when you're dealing with people from social media and things like that, you're not necessarily sitting in front of you. Yes, you could be having a Skype meeting, or you can also be like on FaceTime and having a meeting through FaceTime, but you can send what is it called, like virtual signatures. And as long as you just have them sign it, you're all set. And for the people asking to repeat, I'm going to go ahead and repeat those really quickly. The first one is obligations and expectations. The second one is time frame for execution. And that's basically saying like, hey, as a brand ambassador, you're going to work for a 30 days straight. You're going to work for 15 days straight, whatever you guys agree on. The third one is going to be deadlines. The fourth one is going to be payment section and rates, and that's where you're going to go over how much you're going to pay your brand ambassador for their work, of course. And then the fifth one is going to be signatures. Okay, so we have made it to the final section of this webinar. And this section is going to be shipping labels and the shipping process. Now, this is a pretty quick section just because it's very straightforward. So basically, we're only going to talk about United States Postal Service. When you are sending out packages, because at this point, it's time to, if you followed everything correctly, this should be leading up to your first sale. And at this stage, you need to figure out like, hey, I've got this here. I've got this website. I've got all this stuff. Now, how do I get this product to my customers? So there's 3 steps when it does come to shipping through United States Postal Service. What I'm going to explain now is how to do so at the post office. But I have a proposition for you guys after I get through this section, and I have a little surprise. Okay. So the first step is going to be USPS offers free envelopes and or boxes that can be ordered directly through the website. That's the first thing. They offer free boxes. You don't have to pay for any of their boxes, any of their envelopes. So if you wanted to, you can walk into the post office, not right now because it's nighttime, but you can just walk directly into the post office and take a stack of envelopes and take a stack of boxes and walk directly out of the post office with it. The second thing is going to be you want to fill out the from and to send sticker. You want to fill that out, who it's coming from, which being you, and who you're sending it to with their name, address, zip code, all that good stuff on it. And you want to take that sticker and put it directly on your package. Very simple, very straightforward. And then the last step is you want to head to the post office and pay for that label. And that is it. That is literally exactly how you send a package if you're going up to the post office and paying for your labels at the post office. Now, USPS offers a variety of packages and boxes that can, once again, be ordered online, and these same steps apply for any of those boxes. The only thing is, the bigger the box, the more expensive it is to get that shipped over, or get that label paid for, rather. All right, so we've made it to the end. But like I said, I have a mini little a surprise for you guys. So I want everyone who's going to be watching this later and everyone who is sitting in this webinar, I want you guys to send me a testimonial on how you personally feel this webinar went. And be very straightforward, be very genuine. And what I will then do is, for those who do decide to send that testimonial, I'm going to send you a free webinar of how to ship your labels from home for the people who don't know how to do so. And in that free webinar, I will take you guys through a split screen. And it'll be a split screen, and it'll be me actually logging on to my PayPal account and showing you guys how exactly I ship out all of my orders. And like I said, this webinar was already pre-recorded, so you would just send me your testimonial, and then I'll go ahead and just send you the direct link so you can already access that webinar. Now, some of you guys may be wondering, there is probably one thing that I did not go over within this webinar, and that is pricing. And the reason I did not go into pricing for this particular webinar is because I recently just had a profit blueprint webinar, which was all about pricing. That webinar retails for over $60, but for the next 72 hours, I decided to go ahead, and if you guys are interested in that particular webinar, there is a code that you can use to purchase that webinar. And instead of you guys paying $60 for it, I'm giving it to you guys for $19.97, which is over $40+ off. And you guys can head over to amanijelena.co and purchase that if that is something that you are interested in with the discount code Hair Company. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read through some of the comments. So I want you guys to start asking some questions that you have. And then after maybe about 5 or 6 comments, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the vendor's information along with the graphic designers. Okay. So I'll give you a second to go ahead and type some of the questions that you guys may have left over. And then we can get to the vendors and all of that good stuff. And something that I want to mention regarding the vendors. The vendor that I am giving you guys is a vendor that I work very closely with. This vendor is my wig vendor. She is amazing. She answers all of my questions thoroughly. She's great. Okay. So I want you guys to be nice to her because she is an amazing and phenomenal person. But like I said, this is the vendor that supplies all of my wigs. She does supply bundles. She does supply closures, frontal, 613 hair. She doesn't just supply wigs. She supplies, like I said, all the bundles, every single thing, including wigs, lashes. She supplies all of this, all of those products for you guys. Okay, but she's not my bundle vendor because I do have multiple vendors. So if you guys are in a position like me where you have multiple vendors that you work with, that is always an option. You can have a bundle vendor, you can have a closure vendor, you can have a frontal vendor set up for your business. But the one that I'm giving you is one that supply all of my wigs, not the dark wigs. She supplies all of my light wigs. So all of my 613 wigs, colored wigs, things like that. She supplies those. Okay. Someone asked, what do you suggest for company policies? When it does come to company policies, you guys need to be very straightforward with your company policies. Some things that you need to include when creating policies, you need to include shipping times. You need to let your customers know how long shipping is going to take, what carrier shipping is coming through. If you're responsible for lost packages or damaged packages, you need to specify that. You need to then go ahead and specify if you days that you ship. Me, for instance, on Allure 96, I do not ship on Sundays. For one, I don't ship on Sundays because the post office is closed. But I also don't ship on any holiday. So if it's a holiday, I'm not going to ship it, whether it's a national holiday or just like one of your local holidays. I'm not going to ship that package. But that's something that you can then figure out if that's something that you may potentially want to carry over. Some other things you can include a frequently asked questions in your policy so that people understand everything thoroughly. You also, something very important, need to let your clients know if they can refund or exchange or return any items. That is a very, very big one. But what I mentioned are the ones that are extremely important. Okay. So we've got a lot of comments. And I don't want to miss anyone's comments. Okay. So how do you handle refunds with Visa? Okay, so for my companies, whether it's on amanijelena.co or Allure 96, I don't personally offer refunds. Everything is final sale. So when it does come to refunds, I don't really deal with refunds just due to the fact, for one, I don't refund any hair or exchange any hair because just for hygienic issues, if I send hair to you and you then want to send me back the hair, I can't do anything with that hair. So I'm not going to give you a refund for that. But I would say continue to do your research as far as handling refunds to see exactly the policies that you want to bring for that, or if that's something you want to accept. If it was up to me and you work more so in the beauty industry or in the hair industry, I would say no refunds just due to hygiene purposes. Okay. What should your packaging include? Your packaging should include your business card, decorative options. Your package could include so much stuff. Your packaging could include an instruction log to how to care for the hair. Decorative options like bundle wraps, hang tags, your tissue papers, business cards, discount code cards, things like that. When will the replay be available? You missed almost half. The replay will be available as soon as we end this replay. This video has to process, and then the replay will be available. So I can't give you an exact time, but I promise tonight it will be available for you. And I'll send all of that information out. Okay, on testing, I've seen a vendor scrape the hair. If you see white flakes, it's silicone. What are your thoughts on that? If anything falls out of a bundle, a closure, a wig, I don't want it. So I would say if anything is falling out of the hair once you are doing your scrape test, don't even bother with it unless you do want to take that gamble. Someone asked, what was the discount code? The discount code to purchasing the Profit Blueprint webinar that I'm giving away for $19.97 for only 72 hours is Hair Company. That's the discount code. All you have to do is type in Hair Company, and you'll receive your replay. And when I tell you that is it's valued at $60. So you do get a lot of information within that webinar as well, plus manuals and all that good stuff. Hold on. I'm losing some of my comments. Someone asked, how do we do the testimonial? Basically, to do the testimonial, all you have to do is send me an email. Send it to amanijelena@gmail.com. Let me know how you liked the webinar. And then once you send me your testimonial, I would then just go ahead and send you the, hold on. I got sidetracked. I'm sorry. But then after you send me the testimonial, I'll just go ahead and send you the direct link to learning how to ship your labels directly from home. That video is probably like a 10 to 11 minute video, but it is informational as well. And like I said, I walk you through. So you guys get to see my entire computer screen and see exactly what I'm clicking on, how to print your labels, how to type in the addresses, return addresses, sender addresses, all of that good stuff, okay? And all you have to do is just send a testimonial on how you felt this class went. Someone said I have my first domain name, which is Kanata Hair. Now I purchased another domain name because I wanted to create my cosmetic line, which is Nika. That is amazing. So I'm going to answer one more question, and then we're going to move on to the vendor's information. So Jasmine said, I'm trying to buy the Blueprint replay. Where do you input the code on the website? So once you add the replay to your cart, you add it directly to your cart, you go ahead and you hit checkout. And then I lied. You add it to your cart, and once you get to your cart, it's going to say promotional code. You literally just put Hair Company into that promotional code and hit apply, and that discount will apply for you. Some people are currently ordering it right now, so it is working, and the discount code is definitely working for you guys. But all you have to do is put Hair Company in the promotional code section. Okay, so I will get back to answering questions, but first I'm going to go ahead and give the vendor's information and all of that stuff out. And then those who still want to sit through the questionnaire part can definitely do so. Okay. So the vendor that I'm giving away, her name is Abby. She is great. She works at a very big factory in China. And the factory's name is, I'm probably going to butcher it. I always do. But it's called Pegasus. Okay, and let me scroll down. But it's called Pegasus. And her name is Abby. You can find her. I'm going to give you her Instagram, and then I'm also going to give you her phone number. You can contact her through WhatsApp. I personally recommend you to contact her through WhatsApp, just due to the fact that you guys won't be paying any like overseas fees or anything like that to contact her. And all you have to do is send her a message, and she'll get right back to you on WhatsApp. But her name is Abby, and her Instagram, I'm going to just go ahead and type in for you guys. And you guys can check out her Instagram. She's always extremely consistent on Instagram. She posts all the time. Okay. So if you guys look in the comment section, I did go ahead and post her Instagram. And then I'm also going to go ahead and post her WhatsApp number for you guys. And all you do is type this into WhatsApp and it'll send you directly to her. Make sure I wrote that right. Okay. And that's her WhatsApp number. Now, as for the graphic designers, I'm going to go ahead and write that information in for you guys. Now, this information you guys will still be receiving. So if you do want to hold off and you don't feel like writing this information down, you will receive the review guide, and it'll have all this information in it for you. And you'll receive that tonight as well. So the next one I'm going to write down is going to be the graphic designer. And there's two of them, and I specifically picked two of them because both of them have different price ranges, and I wanted you guys to be able to pick someone that you can afford. The first one that I am about to submit now, her name is I Am Shay Shanae. She is the one who created Allure 96 logo. She does amazing work. She's an overall great person, and her website is very straightforward on how to send her a request to, for her to create a logo for you. The next person that I am going to send, which is the last person, and her name is Cammie. And you can find her on Instagram as well. And she also does good work as far as logos go as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do is you guys can go ahead and write down that information or contact people, look at their Instagrams. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to go back to answering some of these questions. As for this webinar, I don't want this webinar to get too long. So I'm only going to be on here for probably roughly until maybe like another 6 or 7 minutes. So if you do have a question, make sure you ask it and let's get to it. So I just scrolled up a little bit and someone said, how do you gain more followers? Do you think your YouTube channel helped? I do think my YouTube channel helped. I've been on YouTube for a very long time. I've been on YouTube for years. I used to create AliExpress videos when I used to order hair vendors and things like that. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. But YouTube definitely helped with more exposure for my business and bringing more awareness. So I definitely do recommend you guys creating a YouTube channel or making sure you're just on social media, period, because it does bring a lot of additional attention to your business, and it also brings that awareness out for your business as well. So KKX, how do you take and fulfill orders without websites? That is a great question because if you don't have a website, you would have to do all of that footwork on your own. I personally recommend having a website. There are a lot of people that just strictly sell through social media and Instagram, but I personally feel like you should have a website. So if you don't have one, consider thinking about getting one, because at the end of the day, websites take care of a lot of that stress, off of you. Because at the end of the day, you can sleep peacefully. And of course, your website will create your invoices. Your website will easily allow you to send in tracking numbers and all that stuff versus you having to manually do it. Starting out, what do you think about offering discounted bundles to get your name out there? I definitely do recommend that is a way to draw in attention for your business, but I do not care for the fact that you lose out money on the end. So what I will say is when you are in the stage where you're pricing your products, especially in the beginning, definitely make sure you're giving yourself enough wiggle room to go ahead and discount those bundles while making money. Because that's something that I did in the beginning. I shorted my income a lot just by trying to discount sales, just by trying to get orders, but then realizing maybe that wasn't the best decision for me at the time. Do you know how to add pop-up notices to a website? If we're speaking on a Wix website, yes. If you want to add light boxes and pop-ups and things like that, you can do so through the lightbox section in your Wix account. How long will the replay be available? The replay will be available for a lifetime. So you can come back at any time, a month from now, 2 months from now, a week from now, tomorrow, and view this replay because I'm going to 100% leave it up there for you. Someone said, should you purchase a P.O. box for your business address? I strongly do recommend that. It is very important to just have a P.O. box instead of using your own home personal address or anything like that. So if you do have the funds to do so, do it. But at the end of the day, you need a P.O. box. So yes, I strongly recommend a P.O. box. Is crucial for starting a business. Someone asked, do you have to have both DBA and LLC business license? No, you can choose one or the other. You can start with a DBA and move to an LLC, or you can move all the way up to an LLC and have that full-blown protection. Someone said, what is my email? My email is amanijelena@gmail.com. Someone asked, I had a lot of vendors have hair short at the weft. How do I ask the right questions to not get this type of hair? You're referring to the beards at the top of the weft. I know exactly what you're talking about. But basically just ask them, how are their beards? They're called beards. So just ask them, do they have long beards or short beards? And they'll let you know right then and there what the specs are regarding that hair. Short beards are good. Long beards are not good because it's going to be poking out and doing too much. Have you purchased bundles from the wig company you're providing to us? Yes, but I mainly specialize in just the wigs. But at the end of the day, they use the same quality hair as the wigs as they use for the bundles as well. Someone asked, what's the discount code to the price seminar? The discount code is hair company, all one word. Have you purchased bundles from the vendor? Yes. Someone said, can you answer Nicole Black's question? Because I want to know as well. I'm not sure where Nicole Black's... Oh, yes, I answered that already. Cami Creations not found. Maybe I typed it in wrong. Let me just double check. I'm going to double check and answer the next question. What's the best option to shipping the customer's hair in boxes, plastic bags, satin bags? I personally recommend you shipping packages. I recommend you shipping the packages in the plastic bags that they come in. And then, of course, putting those and then into its own box or however you want to ship them. But I do recommend you keeping them in the plastic because the plastic will protect them throughout the shipping process. Because if you just take hair and have it in a satin bag and just throw that satin bag with the hair filled in it into a shipping envelope, if that package gets wet, if it gets damaged, if something spills on it, you unfortunately will have to deal with an upset customer about them getting wet hair or damaged goods. So I strongly recommend just leaving it in the plastic bags and then putting those into the envelopes and or boxes that you're going to send them in, or the shipping boxes that you're going to shipping in. Do you recommend a P.O. box for a home business? Yes. Kanita said, I skipped her question. Let's see. Let me try to go up. Kanita. Oh, okay. She said, I would like to know if I should register both business name or just one. Note that both are detected to the same website. If you're operating your business under, if you're operating your company under not two names. I do. Okay. So if you're using two names, you need to get both names legalized because technically you're using two names. So at the end of the day, once you get to that step, you need to eventually trademark both names because you would not want someone taking either one of those names from you in the future. So yes, just for extra precaution, just go ahead and get both of them registered. My computer is legit doing what it wants to do. Okay, so for Cami extensions, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it for you. And I'm going to put that in her email. So for Cami extensions, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it in for you guys, and you can check her out as well. Oh, it's an S. Okay. Okay, so the one that I just put is her name on Instagram. Okay, so I'm going to answer my last few questions. Someone said, I have 2 domain names for hair and cosmetics. Do I have to register both? Oh, I believe I answered that one. Yes. Can you reply? The vendor you supply to us, have you ordered bundles from Abby or just wigs? I've already responded back to that question. And yes, I have ordered bundles from her. I mainly order wigs, but I have ordered bundles from her and it's both the same hair. Does Abby supply stock images for your wigs? No, she doesn't. But as for that question, you have to ask her to see if she'll send you stock images. I'm pretty sure she will. Super sweet, and she has no issue doing things like that. But if you ask her for stock images, I'm 9 times out of 10 pretty sure she'll send them to you. Do you have suggestions on affordable companies that offer good packaging? Some companies that do offer good packaging. I'm more into like the major companies. So if you go to like Uline, what's another one? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. I'll have to get back with you on that question because I cannot think about it. Someone said not finding Cami Creations. I went ahead and re-put it at the bottom for you guys. Demi said, I'm frustrated because I've tested over 8 vendors and I still feel like there's better quality out there. Any advice? Continue to do your research with vendors. Reach out to Abby to, make sure you enjoy her hair. But yes, as far as the vendor hunt, it does. I can't say it gets better because it doesn't get better. Because at the end of the day, once you find a good vendor, like I said, you always have to go back and retrack your steps because there's always even better out there. I ordered web design. Also, will it come with the logo from this masterclass? I was supposed to get you the info in 3 days, but I was waiting on this class. Oh, you ordered the website. Lakeisha, because that name definitely, Lakeisha, that name is definitely ringing a bell. What I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and get you should have received like instruction log. I want you to just go ahead once you have everything finalized and ready, just go ahead and send me those instructions and everything I required within those instructions, and then we can get started on the creation of your website. Is a 3 to 5 year of experience hair company good to go with, or should I aim for 10 years experience companies? The longer the company has been in business, the better, I'll say, just because there's a reason they've been in business so long. But there's nothing wrong with working with a company who's been in business for 3 to 5 years, because at the end of the day, if you've made it as a business owner, if you've made it over that year hump, you are doing something amazing as far as being in business goes. My phone is going off the chain right now. Okay, so I'm going to answer one more question. Nikita said, do you take your own stock photos with the home studio kit you recommended? I do. Some of them I do. Okay. The last one is, how do you go about trademarking? You can get your business trademarked through some of the filers that I told you guys about in the beginning, like LegalZoom. You can go through your government. There are a few ways to doing so, but what I really recommend is you going through your government just so they can file everything accordingly. Alrighty, well, I enjoyed this webinar. This was an amazing webinar. Thank you guys for participating in this webinar. Like I said, you guys will receive your replay, and then not only your replay, but you will receive all of the information, all of the additional information from this webinar as well. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I love each and every one of you guys, and thank you guys once again for participating in this webinar. Okay, well, I'll see you guys later. Bye.